It is simply unbelievable that such a simple workshop can actually produce a large compressor crankshaft. Even the people responsible for transporting the crankshaft are environmentally friendly donkey carts. This is really amazing. Because they use high-temperature brake forming, the masters need to heat the steel used to make the crankshaft. During this heating process, however, the equipment they use is relatively old, and it only takes more than half an hour for the steel to be heated. After the big red, the masters can use the powerful pressure of the air hammer to gradually shape the steel into the shape of the crankshaft. During this process, they controlled the air hammer to continuously hit the oxide on the surface of the steel skin and then slowly fell off and then hit it. But fortunately, they were more skilled in the operation, and the skin was quickly shaped into a standard shape. Come down and wait for it to cool down completely. At this time, the masters only need to use the lifting chain to assist in fixing the rough crankshaft to this old-fashioned lathe. After measuring with a scraper to ensure that the overall concentricity is no problem, the next step is to process the main journal of the crankshaft. The master strictly controls the amount of feed and carefully observes the cutting conditions. The progress of the process is neither too fast nor too slow. After 30 minutes, the main journal here has been processed. After that, you can use the hanging chain to help lift the direction of the crankshaft and use the lathe to process this journal. This journal is relatively short and requires some careful operation by the master. After the machining is completed, the next operation is to revive the entire crankshaft. In order to process the steel into a 3-steel crankshaft, the experienced master will use strict operations to gradually divide and cut the crankshaft. Through careful measurement and rich processing experience, the main shaft diameter of the lower section has been processed. In order to process the diameter of the connecting shaft, they need to change the Tianjin lathe and change the running path of the crankshaft with the lathe to process the connecting shaft diameter of the crankshaft. This processing process is also relatively complex and very time-consuming. Not only do we need to control the position of the coupling shaft diameter, but we also need to perform detailed cutting to prevent deviations in size. The blank crankshaft is then processed for up to a day to form the main body of the crankshaft. The processing is finally completed. To make the crankshaft reach the standard shape, we still need to use a blasting machine to cut the crankshaft of the crankshaft. The purpose of this process is not only to reduce the weight of the crankshaft, but also to facilitate the subsequent installation of the balance weight. When using this old blasting machine for processing, due to the limited processing speed, the crankshaft of the blank was finally processed after half a day of reciprocating motion. What do you think of the processing technology of this small workshop? If you have 10 points, how many points would you like to give? Woolen cloth.